in the Ask the Galactics roundtable.
So we're going to do some channeling with 3 channelers at once. This can get freaky, as Georgia would say.
Freaky with the frequencies.
Freaky frequencies, for sure. I was trying to figure out how we're going to do this, and individual questions might get a little more freakier with 3 people on board. But just right quick, what are some topics that you guys want to hear about, and then I can formulate some of those subjects or some of the questions in my head based on some of the topics. So if you want to, what's a topic that you want to hear about? The new Earth. Okay. Anything else? Yes. I'm sorry? Sasquatch. Okay. I like those questions.
Someone was asking about timelines in my class too.
Timelines. All right. We can do timeline questions. Praying mantises. So we got the Sasquatch and the mantises.
Integration of humanity and the extraterrestrial dimensions.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Over in the back. I'm sorry? Antarctica. Okay. All right. Wow.
While you're
Yes.
asking questions, you want me to open it out?
What energies are circulating? We'll get into that too. All right. All right. Just that alone would probably take me 3 hours to unpack. Because as you've seen the show, I come half prepared, and I'm just like, they're gonna say something, and I'm gonna go down a million rabbit holes.
Sasquatch is a new one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sure Rob's heard about Sasquatch. I'm sure Rob has channeled a Sasquatch. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Totally.
For him.
I'm going to open it out now. So
Yeah.
let's
Let's.
get out of the way.
So Rob's gonna ohm it out, and can we continue to talk while you're doing this, or is it gonna bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me a bit.
Okay, all right. And then while he's ohming it out, let me just.
Indeed.
We got Sasquatch, timelines, no particular order. Antarctica, New Earth.
I can do Antarctica.
What was Latal? What was your question? Energies in the room. Energies in Sedona. Okay, all right. I'm thinking about all that stuff. Antarctica. Yep, got that one. Okay, Mantis. I can't forget the Mantis. Yep. Bending the Matrix. We know who that one's directed to.
And Antarctica.
Antarctica. Okay. Sweet.
Timelines and bending the matrix.
And Golden Age. We were just picking
Okay.
up questions.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
this one.
Well, as Rob's getting into it, this is we kind of did a little bit of a test run online, and I wasn't knowing that we were going to do it that day, and I'm still kind of unprepared. But I think that's what makes it fun. So having these 3 different energies, I don't know if you guys saw the promo that Suzanne did, what we all did when we were online. Kind of what I saw was, what I came to the conclusion was, the circle is sort of this greater, bigger, expansive, like super collective consciousness, and then we have the Arcturian, ninth dimensional Arcturians, which is a collective as well. And the Arcturians have a broader sense of things. But then Rob is more, from channeling an individual being that hasn't quite reached that collective state, even though they're all telepathically communicated. So we have sort of these 3 ranges of views and perspectives. And I think that's kind of how to look at the questions when we ask them. Of course, they go in and out. They're like more individual and more collective, and however it's going to come out. But we'll do our first topic, which would be the New Earth. So we'll start there as Rob gets into it. But let's just actually. Oh yeah, I think Rob. When I hear those coughs, that means he's pretty close.
Greetings to the group in sweat.
That's what. See, yeah, we're getting there. All right, so let's start with Antarctica. Antarctica, and there's the legends of Antarctica, the pyramids. Linda Moulton Howe did some great work on discovering, talking about pyramids in Antarctica, like some whistleblowers, some military whistleblowers. I'm sure Michael may know something with his CIA connections. So we know we have some. Those are sort of making it into the collective. We've heard stories of pyramids and perhaps some Lyran energy from way back when Earth was first inhabited by our space brothers and sisters. So just with that idea, could we start with the circle about Antarctica? What's going on there?
One moment, dear ones. Greetings, dear ones. Greetings, greetings. So, you are always very curious about origin points in your collective planetary experience. And the gateways to allow broader consciousness to enter the planet for the purpose of different evolutionary shifts. Of course, the Earth consciousness is a multidimensional playing field, and so there have been many different iterations of creative reality here. So we think dear one over here might be more attuned to the specifics of Antarctica. As you are asking right now, we would need to spend a little bit more time with the channel to download that information in. But what we will say to you is that all of these gateway components that feed the grid structures that generate the possible potentialities and the earth plane at this time are in a constant shifting flux. Because even though right now you're going through a very big planetary shift, because you are moving from a mainframe system of the 3D grid into the 5D grid, obviously consciousness is always evolving all of the time on the planet. Otherwise, you would be experiencing the same thing all of the time throughout the history of humanity. And there are certain gateways that get activated because of the frequency sequences that can be enabled in those vortexes, will bring about a specific sort of fractal change, if you will, in the collective consciousness. And really in the consciousness that is near or around that aspect and their scope of influence. So all of these gateways sort of act on that level.
Excellent. You opened up some other cans of worms that we'll come back to after
Indeed,
this.
dear
But
one.
how about the ninth dimensional Octurians? What do they have to say about this Octurian energy?
Krásne moc,
I'm sorry, Antarctican energy.
Krásne moc, krásne nitarateka somatarateka shenataratse myokrase. This is what we have to say. Thank you very much for having us today, dear ones. We have so much to say about Antarctica. We love to play with the codes of the water, understand how everything is perfectly organized. Remember that the universe has created the architecture of accelerated evolution that is now taking you in this wave of accelerated evolution into the new golden age, the new earth. So the melting of the ice is also not a coincidence. The ice was coded eons ago by a giant called Nemner, and these giants were carrying very important codes that are talking about acceleration of crystalline divine genome into full remembrance. So it means that, remember, you are water beings. Your planet is a water planet. So it means that when the ice melts down, you can re-access the codes that have been stored into the ice for a later age, for this age, dear one. So the melting of the ice, yes, can create mayhem around the planet, but it is not negative. Always remember to shift your perspective. As the ice is melting, the codes are going into the sea, and they are evaporating into the clouds, and they are going into all the way into what you bath into. When you swim in the sea, you can receive the codes from the ice. You can also drink it and code it. Always remember to set intentions as you drink water, so you can use purified water and activate intentions that will therefore shift the crystalline divine genome present within you. So within Antarctica also reside a lot of ancient civilization and sites, and because the ice is going to melt, we will see a a revolution happening in terms of science. As you all know, here your human history is very distorted as per textbooks. So there will be really a revolution happening because humans will find all of the things that are very much out there for everyone to see. So we don't want to share too much about that because the poetic life on planet Earth wouldn't be as exciting if everything was revealed. Remember that not knowing is what makes life interesting. So can you drop and surrender into the knowing that everything is going according to plan, and as long as you keep living a happy life from the heart with compassion and also a lot of power, all will be fine, dear ones. And this is all that we have to say on this subject for today. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Wow, that opens up new ideas of just using the water analogy of the melting of the ice and how that's gritting the planet and with the moisture. Ardif, Antarctica, what do you have to say?
Yes, of course. First of all, understanding the nature of Antarctica itself. Yes, of course. Ancient beings existed upon this land much before human settlement in this moment. But of course, there's much more mystery there as per the human curiosity. And the human curiosity creates a vortex of energy for that space. Just as all uninhabited places within your Earth collective, it becomes a hotspot for other entities to co-create with their own desire to co-create human consciousness or simply observe humans. This is why many humans have perceived great lights within the Antarctic region, within your desert regions, within your Great Lakes and oceanic regions. All of these areas are a very easy place for the entities that desire to observe you in a more physical sense, to be there and stationed. This is why humans have that great curiosity of that energy. They understand the importance of something historical took place there. They understand a hidden history that exists within that region, but they also understand the nature of the experience of their desire to perceive, and because of its inhospitality, yes, we are not connecting with Rob's word, inhospitality of that energy itself, it creates distortions for humans. This is why many humans believe it is the end of your world with great ice walls, although it is not. Many humans believe that negative beings exist there only to harm humans, although it is not. Now, of course, this does not mean there are not beings that you may perceive with negative alignment that exist or co-create in that space at one moment or another, but there are, in fact, a great deal of beings that exist there, none of them harmful to you, none of them directly desiring to hurt or create hardships for you, but beings who desire to perceive human reality in a much closer sense, and this is one of the greater places for them to inhabit.
Excellent.
You're invited to come to Sedona, not just for my Sedona Ascension Retreat, where you will experience enlightenment, inspiration, and empowerment. Come to Sedona for the magnificent Red Rocks.
Welcome to the Sedona Ascension Retreat. We are here in unity, community. That's what this event is all about, is gathering like-minded souls, the children of love and light, to come together as a powerful force for creating heaven on earth, for creating more peace and unity and harmony, in love with one another.
We anchor to a higher galactic energy.
An emergence of heart-centered consciousness.
Allow the spiraling vortex of Sedona to raise your vibration.
Excellent. So with that opens up all these ideas around the gridding that the circle talked about. These grid lines that cover the earth, and there's all this talk of late of like dragon grid lines, the Christ consciousness grid lines, and different grid lines or energy or ley lines that go across the planet. But they're even like the Metatron grid line. I'm wondering if you could, the circle, perhaps talk about these grid lines that cover the earth, and how many are there? Are there infinite? How does that all work?
One moment, dear one. So for your human collective, storylines that you experience are fed by certain grid lines. So the 3D egoic framework is fed, plugged in. You can think of a grid line a little bit more like how you would think of in a computer, the hardboard, not the hard drive, but the motherboard. Thank you, dear one. So these grid lines allow energy of certain frequencies and vibrations to move into the sort of program centers that generate storylines. Without the grid lines activated or energized, you can't have those storylines. So all consciousness here on Earth is tapped into different grid lines that feed their storyline. So for us to give you a specific number like that, there are an eternal number of beings here. And when you have, even if you think about animals that go extinct, essentially they have unplugged from the grid lines that would feed that consciousness existing that way. For you to be in form on some level as a human being, you are energized from something, you are supported by something, then your energy runs through the matrix that is the mind, if you will, of your being. We have, for example, Georgia channeled one day for a dear one who was curious about telepathy, and we brought in the dolphin consciousness for her, and it was such a surprise for her to realize that their perception of reality is absolutely completely different, and they do not generate experience through their brain structure in the same way at all. This is why they are able to communicate across vast oceanic regions with one another, because they're not in the same space-time construct. So to be fed, to exist, you have to sort of be tapped into something that can support your program system, basically, dear ones. But the human collective, when we talk about the 3D to the 5D, we're talking essentially about the human collective moving from being plugged into the 3D 3D grid framework that supports survival consciousness, the illusion of separation, decay and entropy of the body, etc., moving into a new framework that will generate a whole new slew of storylines for you to experience and to explore. So yes, there are, the Earth is a vast consciousness. We want you to understand that all planets are consciousness beings themselves, and the Earth is a vast consciousness that can support a lot of different manifestation from being here. And we want you to also understand that your supply for your physical manifestation experience is nothing else but the Earth. If you are strongly connected to the Earth, if your frequency of grounding of being connected to the Earth is very strong, then you can be a very abundant creator here. So we've sort of gone around a couple of corners there, but it's very, very important. Many dear ones, we bring this up because many of our dear ones who are here who have a more galactic consciousness, maybe not used to the Earth, many of them sort of, it's not their galactic consciousness resisting the Earth, it's the suffering of the slight disconnect that happens when you have galactic consciousness in a human body going through human challenging storylines that creates a misassociation that the earth is a terrible place. No, dear ones, and this will really cut off your source for physicalization and materialization literally at the feet. So we really want to encourage all of you, dear ones, to build that very strong foundational connection to the earth, because all of your heart blueprint creation manifestation can then really spring forth into a beautiful new earth physicalization.
Wow. So Arcturians, is there an Arcturian grid line on planet Earth?
We were not going to go down there. Thank you very much for the question. We would love to come back to what our beloved friends from the circle were sharing about the incarnation on planet Earth. Because, dear ones, many of you can relate to the fact that we feel lost, we wonder why we're here, we feel like it is not home. If you do touch yourself, you will realize that you have a physical body, and that it means that you are an earthling. You are earthling of the light, and this reality is the most important reality that you can co-create with. So the more you can practice embodiment technique, work with your nervous system, and create joy in your everyday life and thrive as a happy human, don't turn away from mundane life, okay? Always remember, eating an ice cream, making love to your beloved, dance under the moon, all of that very important. Okay, so yes, grid lines. So you can, as the circle also mentioned, you can pretty much find grid lines for everything. So it's always a matter of quantum resonance, quantum co-creation. So the unique algorithm that you carry as a unique fractal of source consciousness has a specific resonance, which means a specific attraction to certain frequency. So if you are coded Arcturians, it means that you might be directed in certain geolocation around the globe that have more potent Arcturian frequency also during certain time portal, like Arcturian portal coming mid-October. We're going to celebrate, dear ones, celebrate our portal aligning with the earth. So what you set as an intention can be very good to practice your intuition, to practice your inner guidance. If you are interested in connecting with certain star rays, start learning where the grids are. Ask your heart. You can also do research. You can also connect to channelers. For example, we all know a Syrian star nation has many portals around the planet. So it is important as well to realize that the ley lines and the portals are really activated from the consciousness of the earth in resonance with consciousness of also star nations. So it is a process of co-creation. Again, as the circle so beautifully said, they are all very advanced souls. It is like here we are co-creating, we're all friends, buddies, we get along really well, so we can relay information effortlessly because we're all on the same wavelengths, with beloved Rob and beloved Georgia, and the channel, the beings that they channel. So it is the same with planet Earth. She is in co-creation with other planets within star system, universe, galaxies, and so on. So it means that when a portal needs to be opened, she will activate within her core a certain frequency that she will start emitting, and therefore activating a connection with specific star system. The Earth is the most advanced being of this entire realm. She's the mother of all life. So we would just put it out there that if you want to connect to the most advanced being that you can find around, you might try the Earth, because she can tell you about her cycle, about her history, about the future, also everything that is happening within her that she creates. Like she's increasing Schumann resonance frequency, she's activating certain ley lines in accordance also with the solar flares, because the Earth and the Sun, they're speaking, they're talking, hey buddy, what should we do right now for humanity? Let's shift this, solar flare, Schumann resonance, and it's a party on Earth, and they're laughing because everybody's baked and nobody knows, oh my God, it's the energies again. Can you feel it? The healing humans, they're really receiving it. So the Earth is doing that as a process of co-creation. So when you want to connect with specific frequencies for yourself and sensorization, star races, ask your heart. You can use pendulum, you can use inner guidance, many tools out there on the internet. You might move to specific geolocation. If it's not possible, you can consciously, telepathically, and also physically connect to a ley line. For example, you can have very important lines for you that are in the ocean or Antarctica. You might not like to spend a few weeks there, very bizarre, but you can connect telepathically and ask your soul to connect you there. Talk to the earth to be connected there during ceremony and ask to upload the codes that you need to receive from that specific geolocation for your spiritual evolution. We could talk for hours, but this is done. We are complete. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. So changing the question just a little bit, maybe a lot, for Ardif here. When we take an entheogen like ayahuasca that is connected, in my opinion, to this Mother Earth energy, are we connecting to this grid line of a Mother Earth? How does that work?
Yes, first of all, as you are connecting to the grid line, you are doing so in all moments. When you are utilizing certain entheogens, it creates different reaction. For example, those who utilize that of the ayahuasca form of energy are utilizing not only the second density plant of the ayahuasca in the multitudes of plants in which it takes to create that form, but you are also experiencing their co-created collective consciousness working with you upon a telepathic level. And of course, when you are doing so, all things that are in the second and third chakra forms of energy in the ley line systems become more prominent and become more directed to yourself. So as you are working with that energy, it will depend greatly upon where you are in the earth and your own intention. Earth has an extraordinary way of working energetics out for you. So instead of your own energy finding a spot within your collective that is more so second or third chakra forms of energy, it simply readjust your own auric field to vibrate at the level required to receive that maximum benefit. And because you are creator consciousness, your higher fractal consciousness works within that same realm of vibration to attune your body and system to the vibration that receives at its greatest. Now, if you are utilizing energies such as your mushroom consciousness, it is much different co-creation. You are working with that plant itself, which holds a third and fourth density vibration within, and utilizing the ingestment of that energy vibrates the body to a completely different format of consciousness. And that is why your shift and change, and that occurs when you are utilizing different forms, such as that as the peyote or cactus forms, vibration, entheogen. Then it is even a different co-creation. You are still dealing with the second density collective consciousness, but works more so in lands that are vibration frequency matching that of 6th or 7th chakra energy. And of course the earth will work as well as your higher fractal consciousness to readjust the physical body. And depending upon your own vibration frequency and what energy you are holding, you can reformat your own consciousness to do this without taking any form of entheogen, through utilization of meditation, through utilization of simply learning to perceive reality differently.
Excellent. Yes, just a disclaimer, don't everybody go run out and do ayahuasca. Use extreme caution. And so this idea for the circle, this idea of these grid lines, does this mean that this new earth already exists and we're just stepping into it? How is this new, how are we ushering in this new earth?
Indeed. You are focal point creators, dear ones. You experience your life based on what bandwidth of energy you are projecting most of your energy in. So of course it exists in all consciousness beyond the illusion of time and space. Everything exists already. The question for you, dear ones, is how do you experience this most delightful new reality that is becoming available as potentiality for you? If you are not already experiencing it, it is because there is resistance. And resistance is generated through the mind projector, through multiple different layers of programming, from individual belief structures to, of course, those collective templates that generate the shared reality you'll basically agree upon. What we're wanting you to understand, dear ones, when we say the way into the new earth isn't through using your minds to fix the problems of the old earth, it's because you're just going to stay in that bandwidth if you keep using the mind's mechanisms, because that is the reality that bandwidth creates, that functionality creates. When you go into the heart center, you are activating that capacity to experience reality in the new bandwidth. It's new for you because for all of your lives and for the majority of your collective lives, you've existed in that lower 3D bandwidth, basically. So yes, it's there. And we're saying to you, dear ones, when you get in your heart, you're in there right now. But most of you can't really stay there long enough because so much of your consciousness is invested in the reality that is generated by the 3D. There's got to be something that's feeding those grids. The grids are energized. Now, you have become aware in this lifetime. Oh, we can shift bandwidth. That was the creative choice. During your incarnation, you would come across the awareness that you didn't have to stay in that bandwidth of creation. And because the ceiling of the number of people who could come into that awareness was lifted, it meant more of you, whilst you still share your reality with the people who are still predominantly in 3D consciousness, more of you could become aware that you could move into this bandwidth. In the past, you had singular gurus here and there who were able to access the new bandwidth and sort of go there and come back and say, hey, this is the way through to a better life. But the collective ceiling on the number of people who could experience at that one was much lower. But you're here at a time where all of you are doing it, which means you are populating this bandwidth. You're making it stronger so it can become influential and therefore attract more people up onto it. You see, dear ones. So yes, of course it exists, but by dissolving that within your own projectional creator, you are able to pop into that vibrational frequency, that bandwidth, in ways collectively that you haven't been able to do before, because you are also collectively dissolving the planetary templates that have supported keeping you in those lower bandwidths. And once the 3D grid framework was energized enough, because many dear ones, you've been doing this work for years, either consciously or unconsciously. You didn't realize that in working through your personal problems and working through these sort of deep, highly charged situations and scenarios, you were actually pulling energy from the 3D grid and feeding the 5D grid so it could also be populated by more. This work is done. We really want you to hear this, dear ones, and why we are particularly appearing right now. This major framework energy is done. You are at the leading edge. If you get into your hearts and move into this 5D bandwidth, you're supporting it for the entire human consciousness to now entrain up into that frequency and out of the arena where those storylines are still playing out.
Excellent. So for the Arcturians and for Cedrine last night when we were doing our CE5, were we tapping into this new Earth consciousness?
It was such a lovely event. We loved it very much.
The
And
event.
we wanted to say, we are here. We are amongst you. Open your heart consciousness, open your heart, mind, and feel us. Yes, very good to look at the sky, but we were dancing with you, we were touching you, not in creepy ways, but we were touching you with love and light. We were giving so many activations. Did you feel us? Yes, yes. This is New Earth. This is Golden Age of Miracles. And as the circle expressed, it is here already, which is really mind-boggling for the consciousness of human. So we would love to remind you that when you live in the present moment, you have full access to your energetic potential. This is quantum law, okay? Quantum principle of complementarity. So when you are there, it means that you can have the greater access to your power in the now. What makes happen is that you activate more of your soul's consciousness, your higher consciousness, the access that you have to the multidimensional network that you are, and therefore you can energetically call in the blueprint of the new earth, of the new golden age, of the human that you are already there, who's already living that reality within the now. This is how we will talk maybe more later about bending time, but it's a bit like collapsing timeline, integrating from 0 point of creation. 0 point of creation resides only in the now. Okay, no future, no present, just the now. To be able to perceive the golden age already present, that comes with spiritual practice. Us Arcturians, we love through Sandrine to teach spiritual discipline. So here it is for you, bit of spiritual discipline. Stop looking at humanity, at your experiences, at what's happening in the world through the filter, through the lenses, the glasses of victimhood. Because if you look at that, this is all what you will see, and this is low density 3D matrix system. For example, if you see big tragedy, you can go into the wormhole of feeling the pain and being sucked into the tragedy. You can also choose consciously to say to the mind, no, this is not where we're going. Let's observe this event from different angle. What is happening? Connection between humans coming together. They want to heal. They want to be there for one another. Families, friends, bigger communities coming for one another. They want truth. They want a health. They want happiness. They want abundance. Every challenge is offered to you to see that the new earth is already here. The new earth is freedom, abundance, connection, and love. The more you live from this primal code, the more you will realize that you are that already, that you do, and you will stop looking and waiting for someone else or something else to come and save you. No one is coming to save you but your own infinite, multidimensional, powerful beyond measure soul. You are that. The new earth resides within you. It is there already. So if you call it every day, if you wake up in the morning feeling grateful for the sheet, delicious sheet, for maybe the pets, maybe the snoring husband, and you're like, oh God, I love my life, I love my life, thank you God. And then you go up about a day of saying thank you for this, thank you for this, thank you for that. You are really charging your batteries of gratitude, of abundance, of compassion, of service, of kindness, of generosity, and the rest. So when you do that, every time you observe your reality, you will change the way the brain functions. That is neuroscience. So learn more about neuroscience, learn more about rewiring your pathways, and most of all, as we all of us here present within this panel do, learn to live from the heart, which is the fifth dimension where you already exist. And again, we will stop here to you will feel complete. Thank you very much.
All right. So we're already in the new earth, especially this weekend. So Ardif, how, from your perspective, what does the new earth look like in say 2 years or so, 2 or 3 years?
Yes, of course. 2 years, 3 years, greatly depends upon the actions of each of you individually. The co-created collective consciousness is created by all individual beings. What do you wish to see in 3 years? This is the query that we would ask all of you, to understand and perceive what that 3 years would be. Now, of course, continuation of action, where you hope that something good occurs but place no action within it. You will not see that what you wish to see in 3 years. But if you truly hold that level of excitement, hold action, create positive affirmations, working with positive dialogue internally, and of course creating an energy path in front of you can create this. Now, of course, the collective consciousness has a great deal of probabilities in front of its path. Some of those are extraordinarily more difficult than that which is now, and others are much more free and clear. And this pins upon the action. Now, of course, you as an individual express throughout the thought process and internally, what can I do to change the world? It is not what you can do to change the world. It is what version of the earth you desire to be within, and your own vibration, your own connection within your own higher self to the lower fractal consciousness is what dictates. So if you desire to create something that is greater, something that is more expressive, something where community means more, then you will, of course, create that energy. You will work hardly towards co-creating with other beings. You will work towards expanding your own horizons, both internally and externally, and work with others to co-create that same future. And then you will be in that version of Earth that you wish to see 3 years in the future. At this moment in your history, all of you are fourth density beings. You have been for some time. Your multi-dimensionality creates a format of each consciousness within your higher self. You have your third density consciousness. You have your fourth and fifth and sixth density consciousness within your higher fractal self. So, of course, shifting your own vibration to meet the fourth density that you already are is what will create that fourth density, new earth, ascensional format, or whatever vibration of verbiage you wish to give this. You already exist within that multi-dimensionality. Owning the practice of being your fourth density version is what will create that experience later. Now, of course, working within your own consciousness, it is not as simple as saying, I wish to be my fourth density self. What is your fourth density self? It is the part of you that opens its heart to connect to all things around you. It is the part of you that expresses unconditional love for yourself and unconditional understanding for those things that you do not love. It requires an openness expression for your own internal consciousness to work, to connect to all of those things that you truly desire, and appreciate that which you have not desired, understand its purpose. As you are in duality, if you embrace that consciousness internally, the part of you that desires to grow and expand, your fourth density self will prevail. Many of you have perceived this throughout your slippages of time, perceiving new time, perceiving new vibrations, perceiving your own internal understanding at a much quicker rate than previously. And continuation of that will only continue your path towards that fourth density self.
Excellent. So action sounds like taking action on what we already perceive and are experiencing now, and just moving in that direction.
Yes, of course.
So we have a room of vast energies, especially up here on the stage, but even in our audience, I'm sure you, from your perspectives now, can feel and tune into all the different energies in the room. Can you give us a sense from your perspective what types of energies are out there? We can start with the circle.
Well, let us take a moment, dear ones, to honor as well the human consciousness, because you are always in this pinpoint of life going to be partially human. And if you do not embrace that aspect, again, you will not be able to bring the full fulfillment of your creative potential here on Earth. So we would like to acknowledge the creative consciousness of humanity. Hybridizing, of course, like roses with other consciousness, to extend the creative experience. And we, from our perspective, see you all like cocktails. Hybrid energy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Your linear mind often likes to say, oh, I am this person, and in a past life, I was that person. But you are always cocktails, because you cannot have a different person with the same energy. Do you see, dear ones? So when you incarnate, you pull in energy from multiple streams in order to make the manifestation of self the most ideal for the game that you want to play in this lifetime. So it isn't quite as segmented as you would think. And we want you to get into this idea because, dear ones, you are evolutionary beings. So if you are wanting to evolve in some way, not just for the collective, but even in a lifetime, you can call in more consciousness from another galactic or multidimensional stream to support that creative choice. When we talk about softening the body, we want you to think of yourself like a cup, welcoming in more energy. And as your intention shifts towards new creative experiences, you will pull in energy that has already aligned with that experience. There is a lot of Syrian energy in the room here today. Syrian energy has a lot of innovation in it, and it's a very profound consciousness that is going to support Earth humanity with many of the sort of technical evolutionary shifts that will bring forth some of the promises of the new Earth. So we feel a lot of that Syrian energy amongst you all, because many of you intend to support not just feeling better, but a better reality for all of humanity. So we will shout out those two. Human consciousness, Syrian consciousness, what's up? Moving on.
Is Elon Musk a Syrian?
What's that,
Is
dear?
Elon Musk a Syrian?
He's a very broad, complex consciousness. We will say that indeed.
Okay, we won't get into that.
Indeed, yes.
We
will say you can see from a consciousness that is a human consciousness bringing in a lot of high intelligence, but he's not always seated in his heart center, the human part. Do you see, dear ones? This is why we keep encouraging this. All of you have the power to bring in a lot of consciousness, but if you don't seat in the heart, which is the place where all of this is balanced, then it gets a little mayhem, you see, dear ones. So nobody is good or bad, but is the energy congruent and working well in the unified field? This always occurs when there's balance in the heart center.
Excellent. For our ninth dimensional Octurians, how many Octurians are in the room today?
We will not answer that question.
No, I was just kidding. I didn't think you could.
But we can continue from what the circle shared into saying that don't reduce yourself to one thing. You are multidimensional and multifaceted. Sometimes you're introvert, sometimes you're extrovert, sometimes you want chocolate ice cream, sometimes you want carrot cake. You can be everything. You are allowed to be everything. Your natural ability to explore your multifaceted personality will allow you to get more in touch with your multidimensionality. When we talk about multidimensionality, it goes beyond this physical reality. So as the circle so beautifully said, you are a cocktail. So the circle likes drinks, we like food. So we say you're each your magnificent recipe. So get to know yourself more. You can have many different flavors because it depends on the amount of lives and pathways of evolution that you had in different star systems. So maybe you were seeded first on Arcturus or the Pleiadians, for example, but maybe you stayed there for a couple of lives and you were like, yeah, kind of nice, but I want to try it over there on Sirius. And maybe you loved it on Sirius, so you stay there for eons to complete circles of mastery. So what is the star seed really? It's quite complex. It is way more complex than the test you can take online. So, not judgment, observation, always. So observe what your interests are and realize that some of you are here on planet Earth for just a few lives, and some are here on planet Earth for very, very long time. It's not because your planet that you are on planet Earth for a very long time that you are not a star seed either. Sandrine always been there, will always be there from birth of creation until extinction of life. It has been very, very clearly established within her consciousness for a young age. But she's also very galactic, so she is very multidimensional, and you all are in the same way. But maybe for you, you're like, we've been on Earth few lives, that's enough, thank you very much. It does not mean that one soul is more powerful or better or more advanced than another. It is more complex than that. Evolution happens through the access of information network that you can have and embody. So the more you work with embodiment of your own personality, the more you will blossom in your multidimensionality, because at times you want to nurture your family, you want to stay inside, and you don't want to do anything else. You want to practice community gathering. So you're touching maybe into Pleiadian frequency. Sometimes you want to geek and learn about neuroscience and like quantum technology, like Sandrine's wearing and things like that. So you will tap more into Sirian frequency. Sometimes you want to practice more about healing, sound frequencies. You will tap more into Arcturian frequency. It does not mean that you are one and another. It means that you allow yourself the freedom to explore your sovereignty, your uniqueness. And that is very important. So have fun, explore all the things on planet Earth, knowing that it will connect you more to who you truly are, and also to your connection to galactics and ancient civilization. And with this, we are complete.
All right. We're running low on time, so I want to switch the question a little bit. Art, if I think this might be a first for at least for us here in the audience to for us to experience the channels simultaneously channeling in this way. From your perspective, on your side, how are you hanging out with the Arcturians in the circle? Like, are you guys like having beers, or what's going on over there?
Yes, of course. First of all of the consciousnesses that are within this room and the guides that work with them are all available to one another. All of us are co-creating in a way that is higher dimensionality, and all of you are able to tap in, simply closing your eyes and feeling that fourth and fifth and sixth density version of yourself. Per human, there are multitudes of variations that are occurring. For example, in Rubin's fourth density version, that is co-creating an excitement towards the equipment and the recording processes of that energy, and co-creating with the technology itself. The fifth density version is co-creating with the collective consciousnesses, and over 80% of those within this audience of co-creation. And the sixth density version is looking at it all in great glee. So all of you have multiple parts of your own higher fractal consciousness working in multiple dimensions and doing multiple things. And we will share as well that the reason many of humans feel so connected to that which are Pleiadian, that which are Arcturian, that which are Andromedan, is that many of these DNAs are in the human DNA form of collective. And when you work towards a certain perspective, personality trait, then your own vibration emanates that certain part of your DNA in the field. And that energy is why you lean towards reptilian beings or lean towards Syrian beings. Tap into your higher fractal consciousness. It has it all.
Excellent. And Arcturians, do you are you having an unusual experience today, or is this kind of the normal the normal thing for you?
Oh, we're having a great time. We are having such a great time. It is more challenging for Sandrine to concentrate on her own energy. So she's very like the body needs to move more, but she doesn't want to hit the neighbors. So it is more challenging for the body. But we are having great time. She's having a great time. We love connecting this way with channelers and the room. A very, very excellent crowd. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And finally, the circle. How do you see things from your perspective in this frequency soup of cocktails and everything else?
So, of course, we like to remind you that from our perspective, outside of the human egoic framework, it's all consciousness. So the cocktail is a big, is a big soup, as you say. So we are connected to all of you, all dimensions of you. You are connected to us. Only that human egoic framework creates that state of resistance, aka forgetfulness, or whatever it is that you want to call, the non-awareness that you are all consciousness. And each one of you has the power of all consciousness accessed through the heart center. Because again, if you're accessing a lot of power through the mind, you're going to amplify the mind's illusions. So we see this experience like an ocean. You can't really define an ocean as 1,000 drops or 1,000,000 drops, because it's always shifting and changing. And your point of desire, your point of attraction, you're pulling in the part of ocean that serves you. And we're just here in the ocean as well, responding to you. So we are connection points. We are the ocean meeting the ocean at a place where there is an answer to your questioning. Yes, dear one? Oh, just a hand. So this is how we perceive it, because we know you are all consciousness in different states of resistance. And it's fine to have resistance. Sometimes people come to Georgia now and say, oh, I've got resistance, like it's a terrible thing, because they've heard us speak about resistance. But we want you to understand, it's like you wouldn't say walls in a room are bad, walls in a house are bad or anything. It's just this living room isn't the bathroom right now because there's a wall. And so we are just one big house with a lot of doors and walls and whatnot, connecting at the points where there is a mutual beneficent agreement to have flow and communication. So that is how we experience being with these dear ones, each one speaking from a different point in the house, if you will, how you are observing the entire reality of all consciousness.
Beautiful. I think time-wise, we're pretty much there. We got 1 minute left. Okay, Sasquatch in 1 minute. Ardif.
Yes, of course, Sasquatch entities that are upon the earth come in multitudes. Many of them do not come from earth. They visited one day and left themselves stranded intentionally because they quite enjoy the co-creation. But many of those that you understand as Sasquatch were the original blueprint of human consciousness before DNA was changed within that entity. And of course, that is why they are quite in fact close relatives and brethren to you. They did not have the human resistance and were able to co-create through their fourth density journey quite effortlessly. And of course, this is why they still attract themselves to human consciousness as well, under one moment, if you were.
Excellent. Are there Sasquatch in Sedona?
Yes, of course.
All right. We'll call them in tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you all. That was amazing.
Indeed.
Bring everybody back.
Thanks, guys. I so appreciate it. Yes. Thank you, Ruben.
Yeah.
Thank you, Georgia Jean, Sandrine, and also Rob. You guys have
Still coming back.
been just phenomenal. And so appreciate all of your guides and all the wisdom and knowledge you've shared with us throughout this conference.
Thank you for making a good conference.
You're so welcome. Thank you. You're invited to come to Sedona, not just for my Sedona Ascension Retreat, where you will experience enlightenment, inspiration, and empowerment. Come to Sedona for the magnificent Red Rocks.
Welcome to the Sedona Ascension Retreat. We are here in unity, community. That's what this event is all about, is gathering like-minded souls, the children of love and light, to come together as a powerful force for creating heaven on earth, for creating more peace and unity and harmony, in love with one another.
We anchor to a higher galactic energy.
An emergence of heart-centered consciousness.
Allow the spiraling vortex of Sedona to raise your vibration